What's up, everyone? You know what night it is. Wednesday night, off-centered with Dustin, I should have named my YouTube channel something besides the Personal Finance Dad, as well as Troy Reich, Trike415 cards. He actually has the word cards in his name, which is, I think, a bit more clever than what Dustin did. But regardless, we got a new guest. We got someone that's great at soccer, knows a lot about soccer cards, and we have some big news, especially obviously with Fanatics acquiring Tops and how that's going to change the game, what that's going to do this year and maybe going forward. And it's just a really fun thing to talk about. So with that being said, welcome back. Now let's get to work. Let's bring on the first guest, the one that should have named his channels anything else. Dustin, the Personal Finance Dad.
Brad, the guy that doesn't watch sports, comeback card investor.
Brad that watches the best teams, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's all that matters.
They're just happy to have your fandom for the last 2 years since you got back into sports.
I was just,
wait a second, we're champions in Tampa? Get the banners out.
I was just not as proud to be a fan. I was more like, I'll have the jersey. It's just collecting dust in my closet versus wearing it proudly all over the place. Let's say hi to a couple people real quick. Af Alam, I don't know if that's right. AF Alam, is it possible U.S. government, U.S. military, and justice systems watching Tops, Fanatics, and Panini closely for market manipulation?
He put the same thing on one of mine too. I'm surprised that AFLM hasn't started talking about Jaguars receivers yet and how they're going to be just the greatest. I remember him before the season started, or in the chat, he'll basically just put like his entire collection of cards in the chat.
Well, one name we haven't heard of since August of last year, Trevor Lawrence. How about that? Hey, not that he's a bust, but he's having a really rough year.
Hey, Troy Aikman was 1-15 his rookie season. There's plenty of those guys,
And Peyton Manning, I think, threw a ton more interceptions and touchdowns his rookie year. So Trevor Lawrence actually could be a player to watch his card prices in the offseason just to see how low they go. And if you believe in him, then maybe he does have a great sophomore year. But anyway, good to see you, Brian. Brady, comeback kid for sure. AJ Rose in the house from Japan. Corey, what is good, my man? Steven Ryan is here. Mike C, always in the house. Yep, there you are from Yokosuka Naval Base. How cool is that?
I thought you were coming to San Diego, AJ. Is that happening soon? Anyway,
yeah, let us know if you're coming to San Diego. Not that it affects Dustin in any way because he's not going to go there, but just let us know.
Brad will be there.
Appreciate you, David. Of course, David Hunter's the one that puts together my newsletter. I just tweak the formatting a little bit and then send it out. So it's always David's wonderful insight that is being sent to you guys. Troy's
David is very underemployed under Brad's leadership.
I am. My compensation is recognition on live streams. That's pretty much all I could afford at this point.
David, I don't know. With inflation, wages are going up. You need to renegotiate that, my man.
So that means 2 shout outs instead of 1. How about that? All right. Good to see you, Ryan. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. 802 projects. Back to front. What do you have to say about that?
My intro is such a paradox. It's like a paradox for people. I love it. Everyone just dissects it. Like, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong there. It's okay. It's all right. Hey, it's noticed. It's noticed. I've also only got 4 fingers in there or something. I think you had pointed that out once.
Something like that. But I will say I got a rag on myself in a second. Good to see you, Phoenix Rising 2430. JJ Bama's in the house as well. Michael Stone, good evening, sir. Dominic Gabriel, of course, just fresh out the shower. There you go. Take a drink. And I don't know what Troy's tick is. I don't know what his little thing is. We'll have to see. But one thing I noticed, and you guys, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when I watched my last video, someone commented this as well. I was wearing my T-shirt backwards because you could see the tag like through it. Like, it's not a tag, but it's a printed on tag. And I guess it was just a T-shirt that fit so well on either end that I didn't even realize it was on backwards, but you could see a bit of white writing going across here. So, hey man, we all need stylists. We need makeup people because we can't do this on our own. Don't trust us to piece this together.
I've been in makeup and hair for hours leading up to the.
Your face looks pretty smooth, man. I gotta give it to you. Like I don't see a single pore.
It's not even the camera. It's not even your camera that you've got where it's like, it's the natural filter on the camera. Nope, this is all. It's all real.
Dude, you do like that microabrasion or something? You do like the Botox?
I just put a mask on every night, one of those seaweed masks. Just go to sleep.
Dude, you got to work that into your show.
I'm like Jim Carrey's The Mask. Let's throw that on.
You go. Yeah. All right, Johnny, good to see you.
I think they want to hear about your date. I saw like 5 comments about your dates. Is there something that happened or?
Oh, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, if you saw on my Instagram, by the way, we don't promote this enough, but check us out on Instagram and we'll bring Troy on as well. Troy has a great Instagram as well. But yeah, we're both on Instagram, The Personal Finance Dad. I mean, it's good. It's nice that it's the same branding. It's just a horrible brand name. So, but at least you got that handle correct for Instagram. And then the Comeback Hard Investor on Instagram as well. We post different things. But yes, I had a Hinge date last night. Very promising to going in, but it just wasn't that good. It was okay. It was meh.
What did you mess it up or did she, or what was
no mess ups? Just the vibe wasn't there. The connection wasn't there. I'm a very mentally stimulated person. So I like really deep conversation, like spirituality, aliens, investing, like psychology.
She started talking to you about sports and you were like, I don't like this topic.
She's like, so do you watch any football?
Ew, gross.
Anyway, good to see you, Adrian. Yeah, that's the good thing though, is like it's one night. It was nice to connect with her and hopefully we'll be friends and that's cool. But in a big city, it's very easy to find someone else and go on another date and see if that's the one. So we will see.
You're like a guy at like the Blockbuster looking at movies and you're there for like 3 hours. You're like, I just can't pick one.
Actually, that's me on Netflix. Or Sling is I'll look through channels or movies or shows for like an hour.
And then you just fall asleep.
and then I get tired of it. Yeah. Then it's like, oh, this sucks. Then I go to sleep. Good to see you, Michael. All right. At some point, we got to bring on Troy.
Yeah, Troy already left. He's like, screw this. I'm out.
Yeah, he's just sitting there patiently. This is your initiation, Troy. You're going to have to wait there for the next 45 minutes. We'll bring you on at the end. No, we'll bring him on now. All right, Troy, what's up, man?
I'm here. I'm good. I have to say, I wanted to be a part of that Hinge date conversation. I saw it on your Instagram, and that's really what I came on for. I wanted to hear the update on how it went.
Well, okay, a couple things. One, I actually like sharing other aspects of my life because, for one, I'm not buying many cards nowadays because I have so much inventory that I need to move them, and I'm too lazy to list or lower my prices. So that's a kind of catch-22. Two, I noticed that my Instagram stories get a ton of views, like 600, 700 views for a story, which is like incredible. So I throw it up there and I'm seeing like, man, a lot of people are watching anything I put up. So, hey, if you want to know how my dating life is, it's fun to share. But yeah, that's about it.
You spend more time on your Instagram stories than my daughter, my teenage daughter. And that's saying a lot because she spends time on them.
Hey man, I'd rather have quality than quantity, which is obviously not a philosophy that you share, Dustin.
Why not have both though?
Because it takes too much time. Anyway, all right, let's get into the conversation. Troy, what's up, man? Where are you in the world for one?
I'm in the Philippines right now. So I grew up in the States, but I play professional basketball over here now. So it's bright and early over here, 10 a.m. So great way to start the day.
Awesome, man. Well, at least it's not too early, which is cool. So like, how did you, I guess you played basketball college, right? Wake Forest.
Yep.
And then what happened after that?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it a little bit short because it really was a crazy story. But I played at Wake, but I was far from a star. I didn't play that much. I had no dreams of going to the NBA or anything like that. So I wanted to get a regular job, and I was just kind of being a cocky college guy. I'm sure we've all been there to an extent. I really wanted.
You're like Tim Duncan, who?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, come on,
I'll pack Tim Duncan.
Yeah, the best. My friends always joke with me. They're always like, whenever I walk in, they'll be like, the best Wake Forest power forward of all time. Taking that from Tim Duncan. But I was like, yeah, I really want to work at LinkedIn. So I made like the really dumb mistake of like only applying to one job basically, because I was like, I'm gonna get it. And I was just going through that path, made it to the final round, and then didn't get it. So I was like, all right.
The final four? Was it like the final four of job interviews?
Yes, exactly. They had us all in a half court, and we had to play
in a bracket.
The job. Yeah.
I find it ironic. The one company you wanted to work for was the company people go to find a job, or to network for jobs.
That's true. And actually, it's funny too, because I felt like it wasn't the best job process of my life. You know what I mean? Like I felt like there were some things I'm like, well, they could run this a little bit better. And their whole thing is about finding people jobs. But, regardless, I made it. And then I didn't get the job. So I was kind of scrambling. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I never really thought about playing basketball as a real career. I was always like really focused on just getting a regular job. And then I got a call from a coach over here, like, just play in one tournament with us. Just do it. So I literally brought a backpack over on the plane. And then now I've been here for 3 years now, and things have just kind of kept going. So it's been fun. It's a great experience. I like to think like my job right now basically is to play basketball and then talk about basketball, talk about soccer cards. So, I mean, I couldn't be more happy. It's really great.
Do you have your own cards as a pro basketball player?
They used to have it. There was Upper Deck. The league I play in is called the PBA. They had Upper Deck PBA cards.
Oh, that's cool.
So some of my teammates and stuff, they have their own cards, and there's been talk, especially about like a lot of the guys out here are really into NFTs. So they're definitely going to at least they're trying to do like some sort of Top Shot thing, which I think would be awesome. But yeah, hopefully at some point. I don't have my own official card yet. You never know though.
What's it like in the Philippines playing ball? Are you against a lot of Americans, or is it Europeans, or is it a lot of Filipinos and just other, I guess, Asians? And like, what's the mix?
Yeah, so you have to be – so each team is all Filipino except for one import who can be everyone. But
You're
there's a lot of – No, well, I'm Filipino, so I'm Filipino-American.
Oh, no way. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have like Phil Sweden, Phil Italians, Phil Germans and everything, and then you get one import. So we've played with a lot of former NBA players, like Lamar Odom was my teammate at one point, nice. Andre Blatch. These are some really random names people won't remember, but Orlando Johnson, Ronaldo Balkman. So, a bunch of guys who played in the NBA for a little bit. So, and then in college, probably the biggest guy you guys probably know was John Collins was my teammate. So I've been lucky. I say it all the time on the channel. I'm not the best basketball player, but I have been lucky to share the court with some pretty cool guys.
That's amazing, man. I think 99% of people would trade careers with you if they had your talent, at least for a couple years while, you live out a dream and do something that's so much fun that you've probably been doing since you were a kid. So I think one cool thing is that you play ball and then you're big into sports cards, especially basketball cards and then soccer as well. Have you introduced that to your teammates, or is there interest from players? Is that like, I feel like you're a natural bridge to the actual athletes that could be really into it, and maybe as investors, maybe as like in companies or just collectors themselves. What's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, my teammates are definitely tired of hearing me talk about it. I talk about it all the time. I've got some of them, at the very least, they enjoy, like on my birthday, we opened a couple boxes and they really enjoyed that. Some of my teammates who were in the NBA, I'm like, hey, did you know you have this really cool card out there? You should learn to pick it up. I do at some point want to talk to some of my Wake Forest teammates, because there's two guys who are rookies right now and they should have some cards coming out. So I'm trying to think, like, how can we get them into the hobby, or some way to collaborate, do a break where we, like, I think AJ Dillon does it, hopefully pull some of their cards. So I'd love to get some of these guys I know more involved into the hobby, but everyone I've, brought it up to finds it really interesting, which is cool.
Yeah. It's funny is like this year, I really think that there's going to be a lot more athletes and celebrities that either get in or announce that they've been in, because we already have, LeBron and Giannis and KD and Kevin Love and a lot of these athletes either investing in companies or putting it out. So I'd really love to see where it goes with athletes, especially because, all right, let's talk a bit about Fanatics, because wasn't the deal originally that, not originally, but when Fanatics takes over the NBA and the NFL in a couple of years, isn't it going to be incentivizing players as well, like putting money into players' pockets? Wasn't that part of it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you hear something like that?
Yeah. The league. Yeah. So the players, or the players associations, are part of that deal, so everyone's got ownership now. So that's kind of the speculation is, are there going to be redemption cards now that players are getting a piece of that pie, to where they're more motivated to, get those autos back or to be more involved and marketed and all that stuff?
I mean, that just sounds huge, because now players would have reason to market cards. I mean, like, hopefully not pump and dump, but just pump, just to be like, hey guys, check out the cards I'm signing. At least knowing that the more attention you bring to the hobby, the more it'll impact your paycheck or your teammates' paycheck or whatever else. But Troy, what's your thoughts with the news that Fanatics is acquiring Tops? Like, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
What was the first thing? I think the first thing that came to my mind was like happiness. Just, I think almost everyone's first reaction, like Tops Chrome is coming back. Tops Chrome basketball. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, I love that set. I love that it's coming back. And also just like, there was a lot of uncertainty for me. I didn't know, like, I'm going to have to relearn all the Fanatics products, and, they're going to come out with their new lines and all this kind of stuff. So, when it first came out, I was just happy. I was like, okay, Tops is going to stay around. Tops Chrome is going to stay around, because I think that probably is my favorite set of all time. I just love collecting Tops Chrome cards. So to see that continue and to come back to basketball, I mean, just for that alone, I was happy.
What about you, Dustin? Anything different than that?
I was kind of expecting something, but I thought that it would take more time. I just didn't realize they were that close to a deal. And I did see Ruben was on an interview yesterday, maybe CNBC again. He was on one a few months back, but he was on another one with the same guy, same interviewer. And he was saying that basically Tops had called them and was basically like ready to work out a deal, ready to kind of, talk through it. Tops had actually told them like, hey, this could be like a big part of your kind of foundational point of building this out. So it didn't sound to me, based on what Ruben was saying, as if they had to beg Tops. It sounded like it was going to happen. I just thought that it was going to happen a little bit further down the line. That's all. But I did think that they would either or just work out some sort of arrangement where they're able to partner with them, do some sort of a rev split or something, to where everybody wins.
Do you think, okay, the one set that I haven't heard much from is Bowman and Bowman Chrome. Now that's under Tops, correct? Those are cards that they could put out as well, like Bowman Chrome, whatever, refractors and all that. I always like Tops Chrome and Tops Finest more, but I don't hear anyone talk about Bowman Chrome. I thought that was still a solid set. So am I the only one that thinks Bowman Chrome was pretty solid, or what?
No, I think it's awesome. I think especially those Bowman Chrome atomic refractors. I was always a big fan of those. I have a McGrady and a Duncan. I think it's just because it's like a little further down the road. You know what I mean? Tops Chrome is around now, and we had basketball just a couple years ago. So I think that's more like at the forefront of what people are thinking about. But Bowman Chrome is going to be awesome too.
Yeah, I think also it takes the pressure off of Fanatics to create something brand new and see if we'll like it or if there'll be negative feedback. Because if you just duplicate what was popular back then that a lot of us still want right now, as long as the design and the quality is there, it should be fine. And if it says Tops, then it's like, oh, okay, if it's Tops by Fanatics, that's fine, as long as it's what we are used to from the 90s. So, and I mean, I haven't seen a basketball card since then, I like a new one, right? So it's kind of cool to be like, wow, what is a 2023, I don't know, Luka Tops Chrome going to look like? That's going to be pretty sweet. The other thing too, I don't know if Fanatics can, I don't know if they can acquire Panini. I don't know if there's any room there. I don't know if there's interest. But what about Upper Deck? Just because I want to see Michael Jordan cards again. And I know Jordan is a Upper Deck athlete. Like, so we're pretty much screwed on never seeing Jordan stuff, at least the way it is right now. Any idea if you see that happening or something like that?
I don't think that deal transfers necessarily. So like if Upper Deck sells, I don't think it automatically means that like Jordan's deal with Upper Deck would stay in place, or LeBron or whatever, whichever athletes are under Upper Deck. It might still have to be a new deal anyway. And it's like, if anybody can make that deal, it's Fanatics. Like I'm sure Michael Rubin's probably at Michael Jordan's house right now. Like, hey, I know you have that deal with Upper Deck, but what can we do? I mean, I just feel like there's a deal to be made probably, but I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't just assume that all that comes with Upper Deck, and that might be a holdup.
Sure.
Yeah,
Troy.
I was gonna say I saw something, and I'm not sure how true it is. You never know what to believe with these comments, but it was something like breaking news here. I got the inside scoop, guys.
Dustin's making a video already.
Yeah. Upper Deck said something. I saw something that Upper Deck is held in a family trust. Apparently, Ken Golden said that Upper Deck is in some sort of family trust, so it would be really, really hard for them to sell to Fanatics, even if they wanted to. So, I mean, I would love to see Upper Deck come back, especially for the high-end products that, people are kind of mentioning in the comments here. But apparently it may not even be possible.
We'll see. I mean, I think a lot of things seemed impossible, but you have enough money and enough resources and a vision that's so big, then who knows? Anything can happen. Let's go to the comments real quick just so I can see you guys in here. David, your income from me is the cardboard house you live in, but at least they have some really cool athletes on that cardboard. So good to see you, Ziggy. Happy 2022 as well. I'm not sure what that's referencing, but good to see you, Richard. Mark Ford in the house. Great to chat with you as well. Grazing Cow. That one time you ate snacks, Dustin. That one time you ate snacks on the live stream.
I'll never live that down. Good Lord.
Vanity Fair, Brad.
Where's GD? Speaking of that, Chris C, you're kind of stealing that from GD. I haven't seen him. So it's not as good coming from you, Chris. No offense, but
oof. Dislike Dustin's video, not mine. Good to see you, Michael Ham. Go Bucks. And yes, I was on a date. It was a decent date. Nothing special, though. Let's answer this question. What are you looking forward to most in 2022? And now that the mint is delayed, I was going to go with Dustin. Like we were originally going to go, and then the dates didn't really work out with him. And then kind of didn't work out with me just because it's gotten busier. But now that the mint collective is pushed till March, are you going to go, Dustin? I'm assuming, Troy, that's out of the equation for you, but
I haven't decided yet. I'm going to Atlanta. We're pretty certain that we're going to go to that Culture Collision show at the end of February in Atlanta. I heard they're actually going to do, again, this might be wrong, but I heard they're going to do some sort of like celebrity basketball game in the middle of the card show. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
And they wanted you to be the water boy.
No, I mean, I'm starting. Yeah, I'm playing. I'm small forward. No, but I think that show is going to be fun. I heard last year it's like the year of innovative shows. I heard there's another show in March that's doing like their opening in the Las Vegas Raiders, the Death Star Stadium. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, I think I'm going to do the Atlanta show, and I'm definitely doing the National. And I just don't know if I'm going to be squeezing in a Vegas show. I just don't know. How about you, Troy?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to – I think we should put together a content creator basketball. Celebrity – I don't know. Celebrity is a little bit of a stretch, but see if we can get a team out there. We already got you locked in at small forward, Dustin. I'm excited for that. So we got a solid base.
I'm a streaky three-point shooter. It's one of those things where you'll think like, damn, he can shoot, or man, he's awful. But it'll be one or the other. I'm not like – it's always like I'm 8 for 9 or I'm 1 for 9. There's nothing in between.
I think I'm kind of the same. It's all about just making them respect the shot. You don't even have to make it. You just have to make them think you can make it. That's been my whole basketball career right there.
The first one, I won't take another one. It'll just be to like, oh, okay, he can hit those, and then I'll just pass it off.
You better double team me the rest of the game. You better double team me.
My favorite,
18 assists.
My favorite is the guy you miss your first shot and you get so mad at yourself, like, oh, I never missed that. It was an automatic shot right there. So they really think you're a shooter. That's really the key right there.
Oh yeah.
But
as long as you're on my team, Troy, I'm good with that. I do have long arms. I just have like a 3-inch vertical, which kind of holds me back. I kind of peaked in 5th grade in terms of my athletic ability. So that's my downfall. But I could throw some elbows. So if the refs aren't watching, watch out, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Just get the ball to Troy down in the post. Everybody shut up and just pass it down into the post.
Well, I think we could be just a group of tenacious guys there. Just all effort, bunch of junkyard dogs in the paint. I think that's what we would have to do.
I'm just envisioning Brad with a basketball, like 2-hand dribble. No, Brad, no. Just don't touch it. Just get rid of it.
Anyway, what are you looking forward to this year, Troy?
Well, it's funny. Ziggy, shout out Ziggy. Good to see you in here. He mentions card shows. I would say setting up at a card show in 2022. That's definitely one of the things I'm really looking forward to. Ideally, at one of these big ones. It's obviously tough with me here in the Philippines, but I still do get to come home at least once a year. It's kind of uncertain right now because of COVID, and our season just got pushed back. That's actually, we're on lockdown right now, so that's why I was luckily able to do this. But I'm definitely going to be back at some point, and I'm going to have to hit a card show.
Awesome. And like, tell us a bit about the cards that interest you the most, or what you're seeing in the hobby right now. Because Dustin and I, we talk every week. We see what we see from the charts and from what we're looking at. But I know you're big into soccer, which is a sport that neither Dustin or myself follow very closely. But what are your sports? What are your cards? What's like your take on the market right now?
Oh, that's a tough one. I was actually I was kind of like redoing. I'm sure most people in here are similar. I have like a Google sheet where I keep what my sales and my cards and stuff like that. And I was just looking last night, and I was like, man, what is going on in the market? Because I haven't, I have my inventory, and I also have the current value, and I was just moving it down. So it's been a tough couple months, but I'm excited. I've just found, I think a lot of people are similar. I've just found a lot of joy in the hobby lately, trying new things, buying new type of cards. Like I recently started buying Formula One, which is, I know, something a lot of people talk about now, but I've had a lot of fun with that. And then also going into next year, I would say World Cup. I think that's going to be huge for soccer cards. And I'm just excited to see what happens with that. I think the whole hobby is really like everyone's going to be talking about soccer and soccer cards during that time.
All right. I mean, like, the World Cup obviously is the biggest event. I don't know. Maybe the Olympics are bigger than the World Cup. I don't know. Maybe the World Cup is bigger. Huge event coming up. Soccer cards seem like they just have a lot of room to grow, just because there's a lot of the world that can't really get their hands on them or don't really know that they exist. What are some of the cards or players that right now you'd say I would get in early on this, or I'm getting in early personally because of these reasons before any sort of hype or attention starts building around the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a cheap answer, but I would say just in general, like I feel like good stuff in soccer is just so attainable right now. I look at basketball, and like obviously the whole narrative right now is high end, low pop, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see what we can do in basketball. If I want to pick up a Color Blast or a LeBron low pop rookie or all this stuff, it's like
Kabooms,
10 grand.
Everyone's like,
Kabooms. I'm like,
only 10 grand for this Kaboom.
It's only,
I'm like,
You guys, it's simple. High end doesn't go down. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have 100K to drop on a gold Color Blast or whatever it is. So, but in soccer, on the other hand, I've been picking up Color Blasts for $200, $300, Kabooms $300, Messi rookies $600. Kevin De Bruyne, another big name, rookies, $600. And obviously that's not an insignificant amount of money. Obviously you still need a plan, and, those are higher end cards for normal collectors. But I would say just the best stuff I can, because especially in soccer compared to other sports, the pop is already so much lower to begin with. Then you're getting Color Blasts and stuff. So I would say that's it. Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, and Kevin De Bruyne, debatably for the 4 best players in the world, just picking up the nicest stuff I can, because I just feel like it's relatively affordable right now.
Yeah, and I was wondering, because look, soccer had its moment when the cards went through the roof, and just like Formula One, or when the Tiger Woods cards or Serena Williams cards or whatever takes off, you always wonder how many people are actually buying these athletes because they really care, and how many are on this hot trend and will leave it once it's gone. And I mean, soccer obviously has a huge fan base, but in terms of cards, it seemed like it's nothing compared to the fan base of basketball, maybe football, but at least basketball. So I was wondering, are you seeing the soccer card market just way lower all around than the other sports, or is it just like that same trajectory?
In terms of its, the pullback, I mean, I think compared to modern basketball, there's been almost nothing like that. I don't do football very often, so I don't know exactly what happened with that market, but I would say I know it pulled back less than. Well, it's hard because soccer is just, it's kind of like the wild west, just because it's a new market as well. Like you talked about the booms, right? Like Prism cards went to like $4,000 at one point, and now the same cards are like literally $200. So there's some stuff that
I'm offering Brad 25% of comps for his Lamar Jackson. So,
Dude, hey, I'm
sorry. Go ahead, Troy. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm there too on some cards. I don't think any particular sport has been immune from that, but yeah, it's just like it's all over the place. So certain stuff has boomed, certain stuff has stayed solid, especially like, you know, like low pop rookies, especially if some of these guys interesting. Like, I know you guys aren't huge into soccer, but you've probably heard of, you know, the Zidans of the world and some of these type of guys. Like some of their rookie stickers, especially in high condition, are just incredibly rare. Ronaldinho, those type of guys. So those have held strong, if not gone up in certain circumstances. But, you know, like I said, it's not as efficient as a market is what I'd call it, as something like baseball or basketball, just because there's such a long history, so many different collectors. So it's hard to kind of like boil it down and say it's necessarily all down or all, you know what I mean? What I'm kind of trying to say.
I think the big opportunity for those, like I'm thinking about soccer in particular, just because it's such a global sport in South America and Europe and Asia. If they can just figure out a way, you know, we have Global Card Investor, I believe I'm saying his name right, but he's in Australia and he's always talking about the lack of shows, the lack of this. And we have also people in Europe say the same thing. You know, Chris, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, he was talking about he's in the Netherlands, and there's no shows, there's no, you know, there's nothing, there's like nothing there. And if you know, if Fanatics can kind of open that up a little bit to where, and not even just Fanatics, but just kind of the global market, if it can get a little bit more efficient and there's just more access, then I think that, you know, because right now, from what I've heard, a lot of the soccer money is still in the United States. Like if you're talking about like who's buying soccer cards, I saw something where it was like 85% is in the US, which is kind of crazy when the US isn't even good at soccer. Like our US, you know, our US team, our men's team, our female team's great. Our men's team is awful, but it's like, you know, how it's like that's such an inefficiency. You know, if you could just get it to Europe and, you know, and the rest of the world.
And it's like, what sport is Major League Soccer in the US if you had to rank it? Like NFL, NBA. I know college football is I think is number 2, even bigger than NBA. But regardless, for cards, NBA, NFL, MLB, hockey, I would imagine. Is hockey, you think NHL is bigger than MLS?
I'd say so.
Okay, I would say so as well, just based on TV time. And then is there, you know, so right there you have 4 ahead of soccer, and there might be another one. I don't know about WNBA, if that's probably similar to MLS.
WNBA?
This is for junkyard goat hunters. Look at junkyard goat hunters. Soccer's behind bowling in the USA.
Are those bowling cards?
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's awesome.
And there you go, Dustin, just for you.
Yeah, there he is. There he is.
Personal grazing cow lives. But okay, so that's good though, because one of the big things I want to see happen in the hobby, which obviously would serve all of us content creators, but it would also serve the whole hobby, is that other countries could actually get cards easier without all the delays and customs, and they can go to stores, they can have shows, and it's actually somewhat resembles what we have here in the US. Maybe not as big, but at least it's something more formidable. And if 85% of money in soccer cards is in a country where it's the 5th biggest sport here, let's just say, but it's by far the number 1 biggest in most the rest of the world, then that's a huge upside for soccer. And if you even look at I remember doing like a video talking about the Instagram followers that Ronaldo and Messi have, and I think it's a combined 500 million between them, yet LeBron has 100 million himself or something like that. But it was to the point where you go, these athletes are way more popular worldwide than even LeBron James. And LeBron is in the NBA, which is still an international sport to a degree. So not that I know which cards per se, but soccer just seems like, all right, if you do your research, if you have a long-term approach, it sounds like there's way more upside at these prices than downside. So
how much risk, Troy, how much risk is in kind of the prospects, those younger guys? Because I know, you know, if we're comparing to like basketball and baseball cards, you know, there's a lot of excitement around like the young strikers. Are you doing a lot with them? I know you mentioned those 3 or 4 guys, but do you prospect with some of those young strikers, or are you kind of like, nah, I'll just stick with like the Messis and the stuff that I know, that's solid?
Yeah. I think soccer prospecting is, and like I said, basketball is the only other thing that I know like really well, but it's really, really hard because in soccer, there's so many guys who come on the scene and are like legit next stars, and then they fade away. So if anyone's watching this who really knows soccer, like Alexander Pato, Balotelli, Bojan, all these guys, it'd be like in the NBA, you don't see it often where a guy scores, 25, 30 in a finals game in his first year and then just completely fades away. You see that in soccer all the time where guys like their trajectory is like this. They look like they're going to be the next big thing, and then they just completely disappear. So that's the thing that makes it even more risky. In basketball, you see Tatum, you see Luka, you see Ja, and they have their little ups and downs, but in general, they stay in the same vicinity. In soccer all the time, you just see guys fall off a cliff. So that's why I'm a little bit more hesitant to mess around with these soccer prospects, especially right now. But it's still fun to do. So I've been picking up a couple guys. I'm a huge fan of Barcelona, and they have a bunch of young players right now, like Pedri, Gavi. So I've been picking up their stuff. Ansu Fati was another one. He's a perfect example that everyone in the hobby was talking about. Got injured, basically has disappeared for almost a year and a half now. So there's a ton, just like anything though, it's tough with prospecting. There's a lot of risk.
That's awesome.
My roommate just walked in. I have a question though. What about goalies? Is there any market for goalies, or is it kind of like hockey where, there's like only the greatest hockey or only the greatest goalies have some sort of value, but really it's not there?
Yeah, I mean, in soccer, it's basically like strikers and goal scorers are really it. Even midfielders, struggle at times. There's some, especially defensive-minded midfielders. There are some all-time greats and some amazing players right now, and they just get literally zero hobby love. I mean, some people collect goalkeepers. I've bought Manuel Neuer, Buffon, some of the biggest names. But in terms of for instance, prospecting on goalkeepers, yeah, as it is right now, that's never going to happen.
Who are the GOAT cards? Because it's like, okay, Pele, but I saw in the chat someone said like a Pele rookie went for $900,000 or something. I know there's some really expensive Pele stuff, but who are kind of the top 5 all timers? And I guess, do Ronaldo and or Messi fit into that grouping? When you're buying.
Oh boy. Putting me on the spot here. I'm going to get skewered by the real. No, you're good.
Yeah, however you want to answer that. But I'm just curious because, in football, it's like Tom Brady rules football cards outside of maybe Joe Montana, Jim Brown. But I mean, there's a set 7 to 10 players that kind of rule that particular market. How is that with soccer?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, Messi and Ronaldo are definitely GOATs. They got to be, I mean, at the very least in the top 5 conversation. I would imagine most people actually have them in their top 5, and they're guys that we can actually watch right now. So those are the pillars of the soccer GOAT market. Pele, as you mentioned, has to be in there. I think Maradona probably would have to be in there as well. Zidane. That's the tough thing. I would say those are the 4 names that come to mind. And see someone commenting, Beckham. Because there's so many different leagues and so many different countries, I think it's even wider the GOATs, because there's so much up to debate. That's the tough thing too. Erling Haaland or Mbappe. It's like Erling Haaland will never win a World Cup. So at the end of his career, let's say he just kills it at the club level. Is he going to be a GOAT? How do we compare that to Mbappe, who's already won a World Cup, if he doesn't do so well at the club level? So I think that's what makes it even tougher to make a top 5 list, because at least in basketball and the NFL, they're at least in the same league. It's a different era, and even that makes it hard enough. We're doing different eras, different teams, different cups. So that's what makes the top 5 even harder.
Interesting.
Do you invest or collect cards that are non-sports, like Pokemon or Marvel or any of these other things? Are you looking into these other trading card games or non-sports cards?
I did. I don't believe I own a single non-sport card as it stands right now, but I have been looking into Pokemon a little bit because I collected it as a kid. And like, you want to talk about markets that have gotten crushed, like that market has really gotten crushed. And I don't know anything, but I was like, I remember Lugia and Entei and some of these guys when I was younger. I was like, guys, some of these characters when I was younger. I was like,
Pokemon?
Yeah.
You got into like
Lugia.
The older Pokemon. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh!
No, Lugia from Pokemon.
Okay, well, that's like the second series. That's not the original 150, though. That's got to be like when they're like, hey, there's a lot of money. So that's when they're like, hey, there's a lot of money in this. Keep cranking out these little animals. Let's combine this one and this one.
Yeah.
We need a donkey and a bird together. Let's smash those two animals, create a Pokemon. Let's do like a platypus and a monkey.
They have like a battery and a trash can Pokemon now. Like they literally, it's crazy. So I wasn't, Pokemon. My childhood was.
So the thing that's crazy too, Gemrate had put out that over the last 2 or 3 months, Pokemon cards were their number one cards that were graded. So it's like all that stuff that was sent probably like bulk for $10 a card like a year ago, all that just came back. All that supply just came back over the last 90 days. So I'm sure that's got to be part of the issue for prices. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. It's crazy, all this stuff. Like that's the thing about the PSA backlog. And I mean, that's a whole podcast right there diving into that. But the amount of the PSA backlog that is literally like 1 or 2 years of modern basketball and Pokemon. If you eliminated those two, I wish I could get a stat on how much of the backlog that would eliminate if you just got rid of that modern basketball and Pokemon. I would imagine it's an absurd number, which gives me hope for PSA's future. But anyways, like with these Pokemon cards, just for fun, I was like, some of these that I remember as a kid, I was like, for $60, $80, some of this stuff has gotten really cheap. I was like, I'm fine to just buy it and then just keep it, enjoy it, and then maybe see what happens in the future. But I haven't gotten into the celebrity cards, but I've been seeing a ton of people picking up Madonna. I saw Marvel cards, like the actors and everything. But I haven't done any. What about you guys? Are you into that kind of stuff?
I mean, for me, that was one of my predictions, or at least wishes, was celebrity cards. I know Flipping Steve always has the coolest cards because he had like Snoop Dogg cards and he has like Pearl Jam. I don't know about Pearl Jam card, but different bands that I would say, man, this is cool. This is a band that even if they put out one CD that I like or one album, at least that, versus an athlete that was only good in like high school or college, but when they went to the NBA, they were mediocre, and then now great. Like that's not that good. Same thing with actors though. Like if they're an actor or an actress and they're in one amazing movie, at least they have that one amazing movie I could think about versus they were good in acting class and they graduated from whatever school and then like they didn't do anything worthwhile. So I like sometimes it's just that one movie that one actor is in and it's like that's good enough. I could have a card of that person and be good because at least it's tied to that one movie. It doesn't have to be a whole career. There is a couple of people, though, that there are a few people on Instagram. I forgot the names, but that they're posting a lot of celebrity-related stuff. And I don't know if it's Leaf cards or what, but I'm like, this is really cool. Where is this hiding? Because I don't see it nearly enough. Not to the point where I know to look for this set and to look for these cards, but I'm starting to see that more and more. I wonder if Fanatics could buy Leaf. And not like they'd have to, but maybe they say, look, you already have the head start on celebrity cards and this. We want to take this to the next level. Let's just buy you guys out for X amount. And I don't think Leaf is a fraction of the size as Tops. That's my guess. And so maybe I'd love to see that happen, or at least Fanatics just say, we'll compete with you. And we really want to go all in because, there's a lot of other people that we can make cards of that would look really good. They'd be high quality and there'd be a big market for. So we'll see.
I haven't bought non-sports cards, but graded video games are kind of my non-sport thing that I've been buying over the last year. It's been fun. Original NES stuff, because that's what I grew up with. So it's all the black box launch titles and stuff.
Yeah, I've been looking at some graded video games too and stuff like, the Pokemon, the graded video games, not necessarily as like an investment, because I feel like at this point I have my hands full with that with sports, but just to enjoy part of our childhood, why most of us got into the hobby in the first place. But I am a little scared that like my man cave, my collection is going to get out of control. We got video games, we got celebrity cards, we got all that going on. It's just going to get crazy.
What's a wish that you have for 2022? Like, just what would you love to see happen by the end of the year?
Outside of a hinge date going right for Brad.
Yeah. I mean, you better put that atop your list. I need all the prayers, all the well wishes, all the good energy sent my way.
You know what would be a funny video is like bringing a hinge date to one of these, like the mint thing. You go to the celebrity basketball game, also something like that. I would love to see a video on that. That'd be interesting.
Especially if I start off with, we're going to go on a fancy date to the nicest restaurant we're going to go to catch. And then I have a hot air balloon that we're going to take and tour the city. And then instead I just bring her to a card show.
Well, I'm just imagining a shot of her two courtside watching you and Dustin dribble the basketball around in the middle of the Raiders arena. I think that would literally be comedy. Like get a reaction shot of her. That'd be priceless.
All these dates go well for Brad until the check comes, and then he's like, and then he just runs out the door.
Aunt Helen, I'll be right there.
Oh, my wallet fell. Just runs.
I'm waiting for distraction. I just got to sell some Baker Mayfields real quick. Just hold on. I got to move some slabs. Don't worry. I'll be able to cover it.
It's like more Bakers, even more Bakers. That's all the Bakers I have.
Brad just throws down to Lamar Jackson, Opticalo, PSA 10 to pay for dinner. They're like,
they literally say that only covers the appetizers.
Yeah, me and my friends always joke, like when we're at a dinner, like, hey, do you guys take Kevin Knox cards or any of our other failed prospecting ones? But yeah, for me in 2022, I'll kind of say the I don't know if scummy is the right word, but I would love to see the market kind of like rebound, at least like stabilize. I would say that's really like maybe not the best answer, but that's what I want to see. Otherwise, maybe some affordable wax, and then see what's coming from Fanatics. I would love for Fanatics. I want to see the first Fanatics prospect. Just kind of like, I guess my main goal for 2022 is like, I want to have a clearer view of what the future of the sports card hobby is going to be. Like, that's really what I want to see.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, because I feel like 2021 was very murky, because we're seeing growth, but we're also seeing decline in values, because we're also seeing other things come about. We're seeing people leave, but really we're seeing a lot of cards come back from PSA. And when you have a supply that's increasing in 90% of the cards that the average person can afford, it's kind of like, well, that's great. I'd love to get that. Like you mentioned earlier, I'd love to get this 1 of 5, 1 of 1, whatever, but we're talking about $30,000 on up, and the average person might be like, hey, $200 is really a decent amount for me. However, that range of cards from pretty much $10 to $3,000, it appears, $10 to $2,500 is the range at which a lot of the cards are just multiplying in population, and everyone's seeing that go down. So it's not very nice to buy cards that are worth half the amount of value 6 months later, or you fear that that's going to be the case. But at the same time, you can't just jump up to a $10,000 card when your budget is a couple $100. So what do? Like, maybe waiting is the answer, and it kind of sucks, but maybe you wait for the backlog to clear, and then you wait for the dust to settle, and then you're like, okay, this looks like the supply, this looks like the market, and now I can go forward without this hesitation that I'm just going to be losing money on all these cards that are under this threshold.
Yeah, the boom of 2020 created the massive hobby inefficiency of 2021. You think about it, the supply chain problems, the manufacturers can't get out new product. We're still waiting on like basketball, football product that's way, way overdue for new product. And then you have all the grading companies are basically shut down. So, 2021, I mean, it wasn't a terrible year, but if you think about it in terms of the fact that you have all this pent up demand, but the big companies operating in the space are basically too busy to meet that demand. I think 2022, it gets better. And then 2023, it's going to be humming along. So guys, 2028 is going to be incredible. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at here.
Mark Dustin's words, 2028 guys.
2028 is going to be an amazing year.
I was going to ask you, Troy, do you buy sealed wax, or what do you think of sealed wax right now?
It's weird. It's one of those things. I even made a whole video about why sealed wax is like a great investment. It's just like, supply and demand. The supply is always going down, and even if the demand stays the same, like the price should go up, right? Like that's the theory of it. I haven't really dived into it personally. Like I said, honestly, with soccer, basketball, F1, just dealing with singles, it feels like a lot. So it would be really smart to get into sealed wax, but I haven't done it yet. What about you guys?
Well, I mean, look, I got into, I didn't get into sealed wax. I bought 10 boxes of select football, first year select football back in mid 2020 for $120 a box. So these were hobby boxes for $120. And again, at that point, it was just weighing upside versus downside. And I thought, man, $120, it's first year select. I thought to myself, if first year Prism is this popular, first year select should be a lot lower print runs. Football was way slower than basketball. And so I bought them, and then I listed them I listed one just for the hell of it, sold it within minutes, but I only listed for, I think, $250, $260. Holy crap, we got more money coming in. This is amazing. Patrick Ellsworth, appreciate you. We also got Randy for Boudreaux that I'll put you up there in a second. And you have a great question, Randy. We'll put it up there. But the one thing with sealed wax is, like, if there's less, every box that's opened is less of that sealed product. However, more of those cards being revealed to the market. So if you're opening these boxes and now there's way more Prism Silvers or whatever of these top rookies, then that should decrease the price of those rookie cards, correct? Right? Wouldn't that, in which case, if that decreases in price, wouldn't that then reflect on the boxes as well, right? As in, for example, if 86 Fleer, if those boxes were going for a lot and then people start ripping them, and now there's 200 more PSA 10 Michael Jordan rookie cards out there, the money's just flowing, and holy crap, Loot Box TV, this is amazing. Troy, we got to have you on more often. Hold on a second.
Hey.
Yeah, Troy is a new weekly guest every single week.
Dude, you're the ringer. You're the ringer for us. You might not be the ringer for your basketball team. You're the ringer for us. We got Loot Box. Man, we got to keep this going. But look, the point is that if more of the valuable cards get released in the market because more people are opening these boxes, that should, in theory, decrease the value of the boxes, just because those cards are now going down in value because there's more of them. Now, I think there is a value tied to how many of this unopened product there is, just because, like, you won't get the chance to open it. But doesn't that make sense in a way? If there's like 100 more PSA 10 Jordans on the market because people are opening these boxes, that would decrease the value of the box because the Jordans are going down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
Yeah, so it's just that's my theory. At the same time, I was selling the select boxes. I sold them all from $250 and then $350, then like $400, and then I think $500, $550, maybe $600, I think, for the most expensive one. And then the last one I had for sale, it just sat there for about 20 days. Finally sold the last one. But again,
I think Loot Box bought the first one. Like, look at this idiot who's selling the select box for nothing. We'll break that tonight.
Well, so anyway, I think sealed wax, it's not like something you can just go into and assume it'll go up in value, because the other point worth mentioning is that if I see that mine is selling for a good amount on eBay, then I would list more. But if other people are like, holy crap, this guy's selling his select football boxes for $550 a piece, and then they start listing theirs, what if there's 8 sellers now selling that same box, and now the 4 buyers that were interested don't have to outbid each other? So I think that's something that's worth mentioning, because I was the only person listing that box for sale, and I think I got that amount because of it. But if there were other people interested in selling, knowing how much I was making for, from each one, they would have listed as well, and maybe the boxes would have only sold for $350 or $400. So I think like anything else, it's good in theory, but it requires a lot of research. It sounds like a safer approach with the research.
And
time, I think
timing's everything.
Yeah, I think especially in theory, like sealed wax makes sense. I mean, honestly, the smartest thing to do would probably be, if you're just sports card investing, that's all you care about, money, smartest thing to do would probably be buy sealed wax and hold. And then I get yelled at every day for not buying like Willie Mays cards, getting your sealed wax, getting your Willie Mays, and put it in a vault and just forgetting about it. But the thing I struggle with,
Logan Paul just bought a $3.5 million sealed case.
That's true.
You don't even know if it's real.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's real. You got to make sure the cards you're putting in the vault are real. That's a little asterisk on my.
It's authenticated by BBCE. So actually, for people that are watching that would care about this, he's actually, I think I saw a tweet or something that he's going to BBCE. Chicago. Yeah, he's going there this weekend, and I don't know if he's going to open it like live or what. I don't know what he's going to do, but I want to know now. Like, I have to know, is it real or not?
Well, I mean, I would hope that it's real, and the reason why is because it would be horrible PR just for the hobby as a whole if it's fake. Because it's not like this question mark from the beginning. It looks like it seemed legit up until now. Now it's more question marks, but that's not a good sign for the hobby if a $3.5 million sale turns out to be something that was repackaged or fake in some regard. Like that's not going to look good, because Logan Paul, again, he's massive. He's massive in the world, not just in sports cards. He's not very big in the sports or in Pokemon cards. He's big, but in the world, he's a very public figure. So not look good if he has to go back on this transaction, because what would that do for the confidence of everyone else?
Yeah, to answer John Wolf's question, why do people think it's fake? Basically what happened is because of the big sale, a lot of the Pokemon collectors and people that are involved in that market, they started to really, they took pictures and dissected like how that box looks, compared it to other ones. And then there's a bunch of conspiracy theories as to whether or not it's real or not. There's YouTube videos on it. And so, it could just be haters. It could just be, whatever, but it's also coming from people that do know that market pretty well, from what I understand. So it's enough. Hey, there's enough question to where he's actually going to go check it out. I think if it was like, people that if he didn't think there was any merit, I don't think he would actually go and check it out.
For sure. Any final thoughts there before we move on to Randy's question, Troy?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, the Pokemon market is tough. Let me say that. I hope it works out for Logan Paul, but there's been a ton of fakes. Like, they opened a PSA graded pack, and it was like fake inside of it. It was like first edition, then it wasn't first edition. And then one of the guys who was selling to Pokemon, they did like a big live box break. They opened it up. It was resealed. It was, they spent $750K or something crazy. And it's like, yeah, this is resealed. So that's going to be tough. And I was just going to say the last thing on the sealed wax that I struggle with is, like, at the end of the day, I do this to have fun. I do stuff definitely, searching after some profit. But for me, like, just staring at the sealed wax in the vault, I think, like, just for me, I'm not sure it's really my thing at this point in time.
I will say one thing about sealed wax is I remember having mine on my bookshelf, which is actually on the other side here. And you could have it as a display. As long as you're not tempted to open it, I kind of like the display of it, because it's just like a bigger sports card in a way. Like, some boxes actually look quite good. Real quick, Randy's question here: what do you think of Fanatics for hobby shops? Who wants to go first? Dustin?
Watch your back, Brad. Oh, okay, he left. All right, there's someone behind you. There's somebody in there.
See, that's how I can pay my rent. I have a roommate here. LA's expensive, man.
Yeah. I think that it's probably fine for the big hobby shops. This is not, I don't think I have, a different take than a lot of people. I think that, like, Card Collector 2, Ryan's not going to, I think he's going to be fine. He has a massive social media following. He's got a successful, business and shop. I think that maybe it eliminates some of the, the smaller shops that maybe have, I'm like losing the term for it. It's where they get product, and I'm like forgetting the term for that. Maybe they're not able to get that same distribution based on volume or whatever. I do think they're going to want to work with hobby shops. I don't know if they're going to work with all of them. I don't know. I think that they have a direct to consumer type model. I mean, they're talking that up. So, I don't see how everybody wins. I don't see how distributors win. I don't see how all hobby shops win, and they're going direct to consumer, but I don't know. Allocation. Thank you, guys.
Allocation. There we go. I mean, look, my perspective is just Fanatics probably no, they do know for sure how much breakers make and how beneficial it would be for them to do card breaks. I think they know that hobby shops and an in-person aspect of the hobby is 100% needed. And I think the ones with good physical locations, they'll be like, okay, we want to partner with you guys because you guys keep people coming in and interested in the hobby and make it fun. At the same time, Fanatics can have its own breaks. Why not? I mean, where you wouldn't have to worry about all these different things. I mean, look, we have personalities that are breaking for a lot of these companies, Cards and Coffee, Coffee Breakers, and just a lot of breakers out there. And I think Fanatics is smart enough to say, well, look, we'll just bring on our own breakers and we can make a good profit there. We don't have to charge the most amount, but people will know that it can be trusted. It's verified. There's no need to worry about fake product or anything like that. We'll bring on personalities. We can get an extra piece of the pie, but we also need to make sure that in between the breaks, there's a good physical presence where every city, every town has their card shops that operate in a good way. We want to supply them with product as well. But I really think that, like you said, the allocation, I feel like that's where they could say, hey, we are a massive company. We could easily do our own breaks. And maybe Fanatics can acquire, I don't know if they have they probably have the money for this for sure, but what if they acquire Whatnot? What if they acquire one of these other platforms that are doing live breaks or doing sales like that so that they can recoup some of that markup, because Panini doesn't do their own breaks, right? Topps didn't do their own breaks, but if that's such a big part of the hobby and there's so much money to be made and they could do it in a more efficient way where people can trust them, what if it's 20% less expensive and you get someone that that you've been breaking with for a while doing it and they just hire that person to break. I don't know. I could definitely see that happen.
I hope that Fanatics, just kind of a little sidebar. I hope that Fanatics uses kind of the social media aspect of today's world and really kind of sheds some background light on all the stuff going on behind the scenes. You could do so much with, you could have like an office type show that kind of shows some of that behind the scenes stuff. You could have a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket type scenario with like gold prisms or whatever the hell the chase card is, the one of ones. Watch it go into the pack that goes out into the world or whatever. I mean, there's like so much that could be done, with just, if they choose to do it and kind of like show that side. I think that would be really cool. And it would make cards a lot more mainstream because people would be like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this? This is really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with both you guys. I think that Fanatics is going to be a lot more creative and intentional with their distribution. They're going to be like, let's make sure Pac-Man and Card Collector 2 get their boxes so they can open them, get eyes on it. They've talked a lot about having the lower end, loot box, having the lower end products at games themselves in the team stores. So I think that, Josh Luber is a smart guy. If you listen to him talk at all, he has a ton of ideas on how to grow the hobby. So I think we can all agree it's just not going to be as simple as, at least it seems to me, kind of how it was. Like, okay, this hobby shop has had the contract for 40 years, so they get everything. Or this breaker has been around, so he gets everything. It's going to kind of be like a reset, and then, we'll see what happens. But I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think the cool thing with what Fanatics is doing is that when they put in that much money and then they have someone young like Josh Luber, you have a lot of innovation. I think there's just a lot of things that, even when I got back in February 2020, Dustin, you got in what, November 2019, something like that?
2018.
2018. Okay.
2018,
but
yeah.
This, coming into this, I was like, oh my God, there's barely any education. The content is very scattered. There's not like a lot of experienced content creators. There's not a lot of high budget media. It was like just very much behind 2020. It seemed like 2020 was like the rest of the world, way advanced, all these things going on. And sports cards are like, man, there's just forums and blogs and there's not, you know what I mean? Like from now, like a year and a half ago, it's a night and day difference. What Fanatics can do and now partnering with athletes, dude, I think it's going to be wild. That's why I'm looking forward to them taking the reins because I think their vision and the way that they can actually execute will be way beyond anything we even think of. You know, combining with NFTs, combining with memorabilia, combining with athletes. I mean, what if athletes are breakers? Like, not like LeBron breaking, but what if you can get athletes breaking a lot more often just because it's already built into their plans, and it's seamless for them, but it would be incredibly difficult for Panini or Topps to be able to pull off. So I don't know. I'm very optimistic about them taking over, and obviously I want to be a part of it. We'll take some sponsorships. So.
Brad, it's kind of awkward to mention on the show, but I've already been in talks with them, and I don't know if we can go together. We'll just say that. So
you're going to take any offer. You'll take anything. $9 per year. That's cool.
Yeah. Sponsored by Fanatics for absolutely nothing. I just have this like T-shirt that they gave me. I'm like, woo!
You have to pay for the T-shirt.
Hey, Dustin, can you reach out to Brad too and see if he would be interested in a sponsorship? You know what? I don't think it's really his thing right now. He's not really looking at for sponsorships.
I brought it up to him and he was like, nah, I hate those guys. I'm like, I don't know. Okay, well, whatever.
Well, you know, okay, Sammy, I see. I like someone that is that's willing to speak like publicly. So I like that. And I like youth, to be honest, because I feel like technology and where the hobby is going, it needs to appeal to a lot of people, but also keep up with the way the world is moving. So anyone that is not up to date with everything, I'm just not really a fan of. Like I kind of am hesitant towards, because I want someone that's young that can see where the hobby's headed and has the resources to execute. But maybe it doesn't work out. I'm optimistic though.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that when you listen to him talk, like, no one's going to be perfect, but you can tell he's really thought about this. You know what I mean? He's put real thinking into how can we make the hobby better? How can distribution can be better? How can, he talked a lot about the Dutch auction and all the things he thinks can be better there. Like at least, he could just be lying through his teeth. You never know. Like that's business, but he's trying, Oh, Dexflow Toys. Thank you, my guy. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you, Dexflow. Yeah, awesome. See, dude, we got to have you on more often. That you being on our show is very profitable for me. So you're my sponsor in a way. Like these people are sponsoring me because we're bringing you on. But the other thing too is go on.
I was just going to say, just let me know what percentage split works for you as well. I'll send you my PayPal, 33%, maybe 40, because this one was exclusively for me. We'll see what happens.
Hey,
and I do have to do
Dexflow, the comments exclusively for you. Dexflow has been a supporter of us. I got to be honest, for both Dustin and myself for a long time. So we always appreciate you, Dex.
Of course. That's the man. And just real quick, I have to do a tiny bit of, I have to get my Filipino side out there. Kuya is like big brother in, or bro, not even necessarily big brother, but like bro in Tagalog and Filipino. So there you go. Tagalog lesson of the day.
Very cool. The last thing I wanted to say on that is that wasn't Fanatics deal for 20 years? Wasn't that a 20-year license? That means to me that you can't mess this up in year 2, 3, 4, 5. You really need to look at the long term. And the longer the contract, the more thoughtful I think they would be, Josh and the whole team, the more they would want to build this the right way, because
and if all else fails, you have Topps. If all else fails, you have a trusted brand, and you can create your own Topps flawless, like the Topps National Treasures version, whatever that's going to look like. If you don't get Panini, you create your own thing under the Topps umbrella. I would think that's how they would do it, because I don't think they want to do like Fanatics flawless. I don't think they want to have their own branded stuff. I think that it'll just be Topps. It'll all be Topps stuff.
Yeah. Real quick, Loot Box. I live like 15-minute walk from Shinshin. So I literally am there. I walk by Shinshin most days of the week. So it's funny that you mentioned that. Real quick, before we get you out of here, Troy, last couple words. I don't know where to even end it, but what's your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, I have to say, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's great to be on. I've been watching your guys' channels for a long time, and I'm a big fan. So it's great to be able to share the stage with you guys. I mean, I want to shout out everyone in the chat, my Kuyas, my friends, all the supporters out there. I appreciate that. And besides that, I just hope everyone has a great 2022 hobby experience. I think that there's some people who have left. I think we've obviously all talked about that, but I do think it's going to be a great year. there's going to be some cool new stuff coming on. And just like I said, I'm excited to see what happens. It was so murky in 2021. And I think like we're getting to not the end of the movie, but we're getting to we're going to open up and see a brand new valley and see what's ahead of us. So I'm excited for that.
Awesome. And
we're here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hoping you're right too. Also, you not only have great content here on YouTube, you have great content on Instagram. It's the same handle, correct?
Yeah, Trike415 cards on Instagram.
Okay, check out Troy on Instagram. Dustin and I are on there as well. We post different content. Dustin's content is just check it out.
Brad's is a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of sadness. It's a lot of like, I'm looking over this mountain. It's beautiful, and I just wish my life was as beautiful. Later.
It's called stoic and deep and insightful. That's what I want from my Hinge dates, but sometimes I don't get it.
Sometimes I text him. I'm like, "Hey, are you okay?" "Yeah, why?" "Oh, I don't know. I just saw your IG story. It's scared me.
I just wish I was at the bottom of this lake. That's all." But anyway, guys, appreciate you, everyone that did the super chat and donated. That's super amazing. But we had a lot of people on. I think 190 something at its peak. So really want to thank you all just for participating, for showing up, and supporting us on this beautiful Wednesday night. And we hope to see you next week. Make sure to connect with Troy here on YouTube as well as Instagram. And until then, enjoy your week. See you next time.
See you guys.